Hey everybody, VP with Metaverse News 1 here, and we are days away from Illuvium's Illuvitars sale. And this morning, we received one key piece of information that I have been waiting for this entire time. Up until now, I haven't really spent a whole lot of time on Illuvitars. There's some people who have gone super deep. I don't go that deep, but I talk to people who do. And so we're going to try to parse out the important pieces of information and share them with you today. Now, if you don't know, Illuvitars are Illuvium's version of profile pictures, and they're going to have a card game utility once that card game comes out. I think that card game is probably so far into the future that it's not even important to mention right now. But if you're able to buy and hold long enough, this is version 1, this is series 1, and as we all know, if things take off, i.e. Pokemon, i.e. Magic the Gathering, card games like that, those Series 1 cards are worth a freaking mint. And so that's what we are having the opportunity to purchase this time around. Now, the date on this is going to be March 7th. We found out the time as well. It's going to be 10 o'clock p.m. UTC. And just so everybody knows, quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. There's no guarantee of profit on any of these things. Even though there is utility on these things, that utility is fairly limited. So I'll give you a quick agenda of what we're doing today. But before I do that, if you wouldn't mind, it doesn't cost anything. Subscribe, hit the bell, or just give me a thumbs up. I don't have a paid product. We don't make money from this. So the only currency that you can really give me at this point is your viewership. And if you want to take it over the top, give me a like, give me a subscribe. We would really appreciate it. It's still a growing channel. But today, we're going to go over everything we know about Illuvitars, at least the stuff that I think is important personally, and then at the end go over my strategy for buying and selling. You guys know by now, I'm an investor. I take an investor's approach. And so seeing it through that lens is sometimes very helpful, I think. But for everybody out there, after the video's done, if you want to go down to the comments section and let us know what your strategy is. The more ideas, the better. We're all in this together. And the frustrating thing sometimes about being this early is we don't have all the information we would really like to have. So I'm going to do my best here, and if you want to do your best and put what you know down below as well, like I said, any help is appreciated. We all work hard for the money we make. Let's not waste it by buying things completely blind. Now, as far as what things do cost, let's talk about that. Right now, as I'm shooting this video, ETH is at 1575 USD. Now, I will tell you the types of discs you can buy. Discs are the things that hold the actual Illuvitars. But just so you know the pricing right off the bat, your standard disc is going to be 0.005 ETH, which is very reasonable. It comes out to just under $8. Your mega discs are more expensive. They come out to just under $40. And then you start getting into the Alpha series, which will have the same utility as standard mega, but just a little more of kind of a unique heirloom quality to them. And the Alphas are limited edition. So if this thing ever does become the next Pokemon, these are the things that are going to send your children to college. So the Alpha standard is the same as the Mega. So 0.025 ETH, which is right under $40. And then the big boy, the Alpha Mega, is going to cost you about 0.125 ETH and just under $200. So now that we know this, let's move on to that little piece of literature I was talking about and go see what it says. So here it is, and fear not, I will link this down below in the description too if you want to go look at it yourself. But this is really what we want here. It lets you know this is wave 1, which means there will be many waves after this. Now, subsequent waves will have different Illuvitars and maybe different accessories. I'm not sure about the accessories part, but certainly different Illuvitars than wave 1 will have. So there is a specialness to what we're about to go through right now. As noted right here, 25 special Illuvitars exclusive to wave 1. So there is an importance here. There is an importance to being early. And trust me, we are early to this game. It may not seem like it, but I'm telling you right now, if content is any indicator, every video on this game should be doing 10 times what it is doing right now. But it's not, which is a little bit concerning. We'll talk about that later, but at the same time, just know, we are absolutely early here. So I will be taking advantage of this opportunity. Now, what you are going to see with your regular discs, not the alpha, just the regular, in your standard Illuvitar disc, which is the cheapest of the bunch, you will get one random Illuvitar. Now, this can be a rare Illuvitar, but the chances are very low. But it can be. So if your strategy was just to buy a bunch of these until you started getting really good ones, I don't think the math works out in your favor, but you could certainly do that if you just want to collect as many as possible. You will get 3 accessories. I think they pretty much all have 3 accessories. And then a bonus tier 0 Illuvitar. Now, as we kind of know from Overworld, the tier 0 Illuvitars are cool, but they're not that special, really. But if you have collectors out there, they're still going to want to collect them. So there could be something there. Now, when we go over to the Mega Disc, you will get a random Illuvitar just like you do over here. Same chance of becoming rare as this one is. You will get your 3 accessories, but then you will get 1 guaranteed rare. And so that's why the price is higher. Now, moving on down to the alphas. They're especially rare. Really, it's just, I think it's the same Illuvitar with the alpha stamp on it. Remember, some of this information I am transmitting to you came from Discord. So if they're wrong, I'm wrong. But they are usually right about these things. And when I said they were limited, this shows you just how limited they are. 100,000 standards and 20,000 alpha megas in set 1, wave 1. So what comes in them? Pretty much the same as before. You have your same set of things, but again, they will have the alpha stamp on them, denoting that they are magically worth more. And then the same is going to be for your mega. Now, the utility, I found out, is going to be exactly the same. So, for example, a tier 1 Atlas with red glasses and a black bandana is going to have the exact same utility standard as an Atlas tier 1 black bandana, red glasses alpha would be. The only difference is that alpha demarcation that these are going to have. Let's see what else this says. I've already read through this a few times just so I know where I'm going here. So this is going to be important, I think, more so after you've already opened your discs. And this is what you can expect to see in the percentage of. So for every 1,000, there are only 4 tier 5s. And only 7% of them will be stage 3. So if you're shooting for rares, this is what you want. Now, each Illuvitar will have different expressions and different finishes. This is where your holographic ones start to come into play. Now again, utility, probably not really worth anything. From a collector's standpoint, I can tell you right now, people all over Discord have been asking questions and talking about the best way to get holographic anything. There is absolutely interest there. So if this is something you want to shoot for, I don't think it would be a terrible idea. And then each Illuvitar will have different backgrounds, and this will show your rarity there, and then at different stages, which I don't quite understand. But a lot of times they will just have a little more going on in the background as the stage number goes up. So this is what you'll have to know on the Illuvitars themselves. Now, where things get interesting, and I was ready to completely dismiss accessories, but the accessories got some things going on here. Now, this is just obligatory. Everything has an equal chance of coming out with these different expressions. And the tiers are going to be how the tiers normally are, as are the stages. And we'll go ahead and go through the rest of this before I start showing you the really interesting stuff. In terms of elements, they're all going to be pretty much the same. Affinities are all going to be pretty evenly spread. And then your expression, finish, background. We've seen this all before. If you've ever bought NFTs, you already know what these are, right? And if you want to do the math on this, they let you know down here, which I think is nice. We talked about those rare Illuvitars a little bit ago. Those Illuvitars have a guaranteed power of at least 1,000, but to achieve this level of power, a collector would normally have to buy approximately 12 standard discs. So remember that strategy we talked about before. If you just want to flood and go crazy buying standard discs and hope the odds work out in your favor, this is what you would be up against. So that would be up to you to do the math and determine if that's the right strategy for you. Hint, hint, it's not my strategy. But These power numbers do matter if you are actually going to be a collector. I don't know how many collectors I have watching this channel right now. But if you just go back to one of their previous blogs, probably 2 or 3 back from here, it tells you everything you need to know if you are a collector. But unfortunately, this video will not be for you. What I do think is interesting, though, with the accessories is Kaiser on the Discord forum came up with some really interesting spreadsheets. You guys know if you want like deep spreadsheet work, that's kind of more Scoriox's department. It's not mine. However, I will be using Kaiser's spreadsheets, believe you me, once I start opening these discs up. Let me show them to you real quick. Check this out. He has broken everything down. I don't even know what a lot of this stuff means. But the chance of getting them is what I'm really looking at. All of these percentages here. And if you want to go on Discord and ask him what these mean, go right ahead. I don't quite know, but they are helpful. It's something I can actually use. It tells me what is likely more common than something else would be. And here are some of the other ones he's done. Now again, I don't have to go super deep here and find out exactly what all this stuff is. I just need some sort of reference, and then I can start asking questions later. But I think this is really helpful, and I will be including this in the description for you as well. But I just don't think right now is the appropriate place to break down every single thing we have here. Because for one, I don't really know. 2, right now it's not very useful. But what I hope is useful is my strategy. Now, let's go to Token Trove real quick, see how much I have in the old wallet. So I got about 0.89 ETH that I didn't spend. And it's just kind of been sitting here for a rainy day, and that rainy day is coming on March 7th when Illuvitars come up. So I will be using this. So this is how much I have to spend, give or take. And now that we have that little bit of information, let's go ahead and get into the strategy. But understand, that down below in the description, you will have some very important links to look at. The first one is a link to the blog post from Illuvium that shows you how to get everything set up the right way. They have given us this too, in terms of payment, in terms of your IMX wallet, and how it connects to everything. Because the last thing you're going to want is to have to sit there and bumble and stumble with your payment systems because it's not going off the right way. And if there's one thing I can guarantee is that come March 7th, on the Discord forum, it is going to be flooded with people who didn't do this part. And now they're wondering what the hell's going on. Why is my payment not going through? Why is this not happening? How come I can't pay with IMX tokens? Any stupid question you can think of, it's going to be there, and you do not want to be one of these people. Because even if you do, and this is my worst fear, there still might be a chance that I missed something. So get yourself as close to 100% as possible, because there are a lot of steps involved. If you click on that link, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And as I mentioned before, you would get those links to those accessory spreadsheets that Kaiser made. There's 3 of them. I'll have links for every single one down below in the description. What I didn't put on here was I'm also including a link to that blog post we just got done looking at. So you should be hooked up with everything you need, but what I will also include is the same thing I include on every video, links to follow me on Twitter and TikTok. Please do so. TikTok is not going to really get going until the Metaverse news updates start to come out, but I would love it if you would follow me on both. Now, the mindset for my strategy is important before I actually tell you what it is, because it's not going to make a lot of sense unless you understand this part first. Now, if you've seen my previous videos, you know that I'm in this for the long term. Every single thing I buy for years into the future. I fully understand that my hard-earned money is going to be tied up into these things and useless and held hostage for a very long time. And the reason I do that is because I know the biggest pot of gold is at the end of the biggest rainbows. And we already said before, we're bullish on this game, right? We all think it has huge potential going forward, right? So why not allow yourself to get paid off in full by being an early adopter to this game? I just don't see any other way. And being an investor for 12 years has taught me one thing. It's this right here. The only times I really got paid off is when I adopted this strategy. And so many times I didn't. But looking back, I so wish I did. But also know, waiting a long time does not guarantee success. This game may not take off. It may not take off right away. I'm telling you right now, there should be more hype around this game. And there's currently not. if content is any indication, every video you see, big or small, should be doing 20 times the volume it's doing right now. This is a testament to how early we are, but I mean, this is so unique to its class. It's so superior to every other game I've seen in the space, but the early levels of hype it's getting, to me, does not match it. Now, it certainly could as time goes on. I'm expecting it to. But there are some bearish cases out there. Every time the Warwicks talk about their runway and how much time they have left before they run out of money and why they need to do things like this Illuvitar sales to keep them going, it doesn't really give me a warm and fuzzy feeling when they do that. But I also know, they're founders. And you have to take the information you get from founders with a grain of salt, because they are not required to tell us anything, really. They're nice enough to tell us what they tell us, but they should not ever tell us 100% of what's going on. Why? Because people panic. Your general populace, by and large, is not cut out to be founders. Why? Because they panic all the time. You can't run a company if you panic all the time. It's impossible. You will fail immediately because a lot of things go wrong along the way. And the Warwicks are pioneering something very special into Web3 with very little precedent to go on. There is a certain and absolute risk here. And we don't always know how accurate or how complete the information we get is. So just always keep that in mind too. But let me end this slide with a piece of bullishness, and that is, if there's one thing I know about collectors, is that they are nuts, and they don't just go half measures. Collectors go all in with these collections, and they typically have the money to do it. So even though I'm not really one of those people, I kind of take what Gary Vaynerchuk said when NFTs first came out. He says, look, I don't really completely understand NFTs, but I understand markets. And this is absolutely a market. As we all know from being in this space, there are a lot of people who really love and embrace this stuff. And as an investor, I would really love to be that guy who has that one accessory or that one Illuvitar that they really, really want, but they have no access to. Because then the price of poker just went way, way up. And my strategy is going to be for me to position myself to hopefully be one of those people who a collector is going to require and rely on to complete their collection. Because as you see in the collector's blog, which, I'm going to link that down below too, this album's going to be a pretty big deal. And they're going to really reward people who complete it or get close to completing it. And then those people are going to have a leg up in the card game. And if there are 1,000 pieces to collect in a collection, just for example, do you think somebody's going to begin collecting if they can only afford 3 out of 1,000? Of course not. They go for the whole enchilada, or as close to it as they possibly can. So what I think I'm going to do, and this could change, and if it does, I will be making a video on March 7th opening my discs. I will let you know if this has changed. But for now, I'm going to buy one Alpha Mega. And I'm going to open it up and hang on to what's inside. I don't have all the ETH in the world to spend on this, nor would I want to. So just one of those for me to open, and then another one to hold. There was talk before about whether or not these discs expire if you don't open them. The intel I just got, and you're going to want to double check this, is that they do not expire. So, which means you can hang on to the disc itself, and that can be like holding on to a Series 1 pack of Pokemon cards, for example, which even though people don't know what's inside, still fetch a very, very high price. So just purely as an investment asset, that's going to be my strategy there. And then I'm going to get off of the Alpha Megas and just start buying regular Megas until I get what I think is going to be a very rare alluvial and a very rare accessory. And I'll keep going until I feel like I have found at least one. And I don't really feel like I need to go beyond this. Because as bullish as I am on Illuvium and as bullish as I am on Illuvitars, because I think there's a real place for them, I'm already pretty darn invested in this damn project. I have 7 pieces of land. I have my ILV tokens. And I know once you enter a project like this, the things you buy aren't going to be the last things you buy. There's always going to be more. But I don't need to over leverage into these things. Give me a handful of things that I can sell for good money down the line, and I'm more than happy to sit on them. That's it. That's the strategy. Thank you for watching. Again, please help yourself to the links down below in the description. Share your strategy with the community down below in the comments as well. And as far as Illuvium videos go, I will see you